Action.
Welcome back to episode 6 of These Nutz podcast. Ooh, it's like we're professional.
Did you say season 6?
I mean, we have put out a lot, so people go back and binge all the seasons.
Season 6 is dropping on Hulu. I don't know if that's what you said, though.
No, I really said episode.
Oh. Okay, episode 6.
Episode 6.
Okay. We're still doing it.
Honestly, I don't think that I would still be doing this if I was doing it on my own. Not that there's much of a podcast with one person, but I probably would have given up 3 episodes ago.
I follow some people that are single podcasters.
Really?
Yeah, I mean the discipline though. Like I need somebody to be like, we're doing it.
Yes.
Come on, yeah. Or I think Katie just did a whole bunch of work. I need to get my story together. So
Amy just spent a whole ton of money on the podcast. I better really put in the effort.
I hope we're just investing in our future.
We are. And on season 6, you're gonna see us in the best studio.
Yeah.
With the best camera and sound quality.
We'll play this where I thought it was season 6.
Yes.
That's
We'll
great.
have crew members holding the cameras.
A boom mic will just
Yes.
come out.
Accidentally hit the shot.
That's great. I can't wait.
I know. I'm excited.
We should put together a little These Nutz vision board.
Stop. Look at that board over there.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Yeah, well, let's do it. Then we can put it on our Instagram
Okay. Yes. Or our Facebook.
if you're over 40. Facebook, find me there.
Good luck. It takes some digging.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I have a different name, but almost everybody else just knows me as Amy Solomon.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
Katie Glasson on Facebook.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm the not letting me showing up my door.
I didn't give your address. Okay, am I up first?
You're up first.
I have a couple shout outs that I want to give. First of all, I want to say thank you to Rylan. And Rylan is an elementary school student from the Benton County, Indiana area. And I asked her to make us some stuff, and she did better than I could have dreamed. She made me this little acorn or keychain. But here's the best part. It has a face on the other side. And she's a good businesswoman because she made other little acorn magnets that we'll probably include with our giveaway that we do this week. But then, like any good business, she just put in freebies.
Oh, I love a good freebie from a small business.
And candy. There was also a Reese cup, but I ate it already. So thank you, Rylan. We love them. We love them.
Yes.
And then another shout out I want to give, and this I can't say this name enough. It's Rockin' Randy's Pro Wrestling Outlaws podcast.
Oh my gosh, say it again.
Rockin' Randy's Pro Wrestling Outlaws podcast.
One more time.
Rockin' Randy's Pro Wrestling Outlaws podcast. I said it with some sass that time.
Thank you.
And the reason why I know about this podcast is because Drew Samuels, who I've mentioned before,
Yes.
He supports us. He likes our stuff, shares it, comments on it.
He's a nutlet.
He's a nutlet. And he has been guest starring on this, or guest appearing on this podcast. And it's whether you're a wrestling fan or not.
Are you a wrestling
Fun
fan?
fact, I am a wrestling fan. I used to be a Hulkamania. Yes.
I really loved Hulk Hogan
Mhm. Yeah.
on his family TV show.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Never
Yeah,
in the wrestling.
my brother and my cousin and a friend of ours all went to a WrestleMania in the 90s.
I can picture you throwing
We made
down
signs and we held them up. It was, I'm a wrestling fan. So, whether you are or not, though, I recommend you go check out their podcast because it's funny. It's really quirky and funny, and I got a kick out of it. The other guys on the show are Jason, Rodney, Albert, Michael, and Smokey.
Smokey. That's a fun name.
I wonder if that's a nickname.
No way. His parents named him Smokey.
I hope so. And fun fact, Drew has agreed to come on our podcast.
Okay,
And
yes.
tell us a scandal, a murder, a dark secret from the wrestling world.
Oh,
I know. I'm excited.
I'm not a wrestling fan.
Think wrestling.
But I do get the hype behind it. However, I am a sucker for a good scandal, a murder.
A good murder. Okay, yeah, I can't wait to have Drew on the podcast in a few weeks. So more to come. Check our Instagram or Facebook, and we'll keep you updated.
I'm excited to have a guest star.
Oh, man.
It's going to be so fun. It's going to add a little bit more spice to the episodes, to the podcast.
You don't know Drew, but when I saw you, he's just hilarious, and he's a really good person. So it's going to be so fun.
Okay, I'm excited. I have a couple of updates.
As do I. You go first.
Okay.
What do you got?
Well, Miley, we talked about her in episode 1. Yes. We broke down flowers, talked about all the Easter eggs that she put in there. Her new album comes out on March 10th. It's called Endless Summer Vacation. Shout out to Miley.
Yes.
Please come on our podcast.
Oh, and in 5 weeks, Miley Cyrus. I wish.
One day we'll be there.
Yeah.
But I'm just excited. I can't wait. It's like
a
week and a half. So I will be looking forward to that.
Me too.
And then something else that I thought was fun that my mom's actually sent me is we talked about Nepo babies a couple of weeks ago. And we did a speed round, and one was Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
And you thought Jamie was Nepo or talented?
I said talented.
Did she? You'll have to go back and watch the episode.
Episode 2. Was it 2?
No.
The episode. We'll check out 2 and then go to 3.
That's right. But I think it might have been 4.
You'll find
I'm just kidding. I have no idea. We've been doing so many that I can't
keep up.
But the Screen Actors Guild, or the SAG Awards, were, I think, on Saturday or Sunday over the weekend. And she had, I believe it was an award that she was accepting, or a monologue or something. But she very clearly stated that she is the OG Nepo baby.
Oh.
And I know you look at me and think, well, Nepo baby, that's why she's there. And I totally get it.
Her dad was an actor, and her first show that she was on was one of his works, like something that he was in. So she said she's proud to be an actor or an actress, and she knows her place, and that she is an OG Nepo baby. So,
I think she was being facetious.
You think so? Is facetious a word, like redemptive?
Facetious and redemptive are both words.
I'm kidding.
But I think she was playing because she's heard about all the hype lately.
Yeah. What kind of updates do you have?
So there's a new feud on the horizon.
Okay, a new beef.
Maybe you've heard about this latest beef. And I can give you a quick overview, very quick, and you tell me whose side you're on.
Okay.
Hailey Bieber versus Selena Gomez.
Stop.
Well, wait, let me give you the really quick. Hailey Bieber, Home Wrecking Home. Selena Gomez, America's Sweetheart. Whose side are you on?
America's Sweetheart.
I thought I could get you there.
You absolutely could.
Yeah.
But you could have just said Selena with no Gomez, and I would have been Team Selena all the way.
Yeah.
I don't know the drama that Hailey thinks she's trying to start, but
I think she's trying to find it out.
That's right.
Put that out.
She just is digging herself a hole, because Selena, she just shuts it down.
I know. Selena did do, I think, a couple clapbacks this last time, though.
She did, but I don't
so
think
kindly though, and so gently. Yeah. Whereas Hailey's clearly mean girling with the pictures of the eyebrows, and it's not funny. But anyway, that was the quick update.
Okay, I do have an update. A very small update on Brian Walsh.
Oh.
We talked about him and his crazy Google searches with his poor wife that's gone missing, still has not been found. He is appearing in court. It was supposed to start tomorrow, but it was pushed back to April. So keep up with us in a couple of weeks. Hopefully I'll have a good update.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In court.
I also have a Madeline McCann or not update. No final DNA results or anything. I don't even know if there has been one taken or if there really will be one taken. But this Julia, who is claiming that she believes she could be Madeline McCann, her biological mother, allegedly, has come forward and said, Julia has her birth certificate. We've been battling mental health issues for a long time.
Okay.
Unfortunately, she's not taking her medications. She's not following through with that. And of course, all we have right now is what people are saying.
Right.
However, I saw the picture of this Julia's alleged biological mother, and they look exactly alike.
Do they?
I think so. I think that and sadly, this is so tragic if it really is just a case of somebody going through an episode and getting attention in a very terrible public way. There's hopefully some intervention soon.
I know you were originally kind of on the fence, like, man, it does feel like this
maybe
could be her. Do you still feel like that, or do you feel like, I don't think it's her?
I don't think it's her. I think we're dealing with some mental health stuff, and unfortunately, because we all want to find Maddie so bad, people are quick to be hopeful. But
I did go down a very quick rabbit hole on the opposite end of the spectrum, where people were trying to expose Julia and pointing out the ways that they thought she was lying, and those kind of stuck out to me. But,
well, I saw one girl that said she'd gone to language camp with her, and whatever language camp is. It's a camp where you just, I think, learn a new language, but you have to learn to say things like stick and tent. No, I'm just kidding. I made that part up.
How many camps have you been to?
Not very many. Not very many. So anyway, I've seen people from her past saying, no, she needs help.
Okay. Do you have any other updates?
Nope, that's all the updates I've got.
Okay. Well, it is your week to go first, but before you start, I just kind of want to share a quick update with the Nutlets, with the fans, that we both have some very in-depth stories.
I was just trying to engage with the audience in a creepy manner.
Is that what you did to the lady that was outside?
Oh my gosh, should I tell that story real quick? No. Should I? No. Like, I was in Katie's neighborhood. I went out to the car to get something for our giveaway basket, and I was leaning over to get into the glove compartment, and I look up through my passenger side window, and there's this woman power walking towards me, and then she trips and lunges towards me with her hands out, but then recovers. And so, to be nice, I said, that would happen to me. And then she said, I was going to get you. And I didn't know what to say, so I just got in the trunk of my car. That's a true story. If you're watching this, it's fine. It happens. We all fall.
I'm still trying to convince myself that happened, but
it happened.
Okay. Anyway,
sorry.
We have two very in-depth stories this week. You have a ton of details on somebody from Indiana?
Yes, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay. I've got a very twisted, tangled web of a family.
What? A twisted, tangled web of a family
out of South Carolina. So
too much drama.
No, I think it was just enough, because when I start telling you about this family, hopefully just as much as when you start, that's going to be your expression the whole time.
Okay.
So because of the extensive stories that we are going to be sharing, we are going to split this into a 2-part special.
Surprise!
Surprise!
I'm trying to bring the drama this
week. It's perfect.
Okay.
I really do. So, obviously, we're watching Amy's story now on Monday, but tune in later this week on Wednesday. We are going to have a special second episode that contains the second half of episode 6.
That's wild. We're going to call it Wild Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for getting on board.
Wild Wednesday. Okay. So let's hit it.
All right.
Tell me about.
Okay. If
Indiana
you
Man.
are ready.
I'm as ready as I can be.
Well, first of all, did you know there were serial killers in Indiana?
I didn't know, but I guess I assume everybody's a serial killer. Ask Jacob. I say every time that I go to Walmart by myself, that a person was following me.
Oh my gosh.
Or
do you just say that so he'll go with you, or does that really happen?
No, like we'll be on the phone and I'll be like, I think this person's following me.
Oh my
and he
gosh.
thinks I'm being so dramatic, but there are crazy people
There
everywhere.
are.
So
I was gonna get you.
I'm not surprised that there's serial killers in Indiana.
No, that is safe to assume everybody's a killer.
I really do.
I kind of
think I'm
do
gonna be
too.
Trafficked is probably the thing.
Oh
It's
my
not
gosh.
killed.
I think I'm probably safe. They're like, ooh,
I mean, in reality, probably me.
you
too.
expired in 1999. No, thank you. But still, when I Lyft drive once it gets dark, like I did Lyft drive a couple, like Saturday night, 7, 8 o'clock. I literally have a tiny little pocket knife that I just keep in my bra, just in case somebody wants to. There's a surprise in there for you. You can cut me with it.
Oh God, don't say that. That's scary.
I know.
I have a fear of knives. For the longest time, I wouldn't, like most people have a knife block or things on their kitchen counter.
Yes.
I always grew up with one in.
Yeah, a butcher block. I know what you're talking about.
No. When Jake and I first got together and first got our own place, the knives went in the drawer. And just last year or the year prior, he got me a really nice display, which is really nice, but I still have a fear that if a person breaks in, the first thing they're going for is that knife that's sitting in plain sight.
Yeah. Because a lot of times that's what killers do. They just
knife you.
So, I mean, you're not wrong. They're all different ways.
So
but
I get what the world is scary.
But when I think of serial killers, like famous ones, there's Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy. Mm-hmm. It just always feels like it's happening somewhere else. It's like sickness. It's always going to happen to somebody else.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you about something that happened to Indianapolis, Indiana.
That's so close to us.
Yeah. So this gentleman's name is, and let's just talk about this for a little while.
Okay.
He was born April 7th, 1947, and his parents looked at him and said, "You look like Herbert Richard Baumeister Jr."
I don't know what's better. Did you say Baumeister or Ballmeister?
Ba.
Okay.
I did hear some people say Baumeister or Baumeister, but it looks like Baumeister to me.
Okay, I would say Baumeister too.
But here's what I'm thinking. Don't name your kids something that rhymes with something. Like Herbert the Pervert, Chester, Legina. I can't think of anything else. Tate.
I don't.
Anyway, we'll just leave it at that. Okay,
that's right.
Just a little service for new mothers.
Even if he has a nickname, say he goes by Herb.
No, it's Herb.
Herb. That's what I'm saying, though. He might go by Herb, but people are gonna look at that and think he's rosemary or cilantro.
Yeah, he's not. He's more like an onion. Herb. Okay, so as I said, he's a junior. So he was born to Elizabeth and Herbert Baumeister Sr. in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay.
Big Herb. That's what I'm going to call the dad.
Big Herb and Little Herb.
Big Herb and Little Herb. Big Herb was a well-respected anesthesiologist. So he was Dr. Baumeister.
Dr. Big Herbert.
Yes. And so, let's talk about this for a minute.
Okay.
Little Herb was the firstborn, okay? And then he had 3 siblings after that. You're the oldest in your family, right? Do you think there's certain, like, personality traits that come with being the oldest?
Yes.
What do you think those are?
Well, I think every family is a little bit different, but being the oldest means you're the boss.
Yeah.
That means everybody listens to you.
And don't you work in management now? Okay.
What else does... I don't like being put on the spot.
Okay, I would agree. I think being the oldest is usually like you're a decision maker.
You know it all.
Yeah,
like,
you lead the pack. You're your little family trendsetter or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Well, as we go on, you have to tell me if you think Herb was any of those things.
And he was the oldest.
He was the oldest. And then he had, I think, I don't know, 3 siblings. Not, I think, I know. I don't know if they were brothers or sisters, though. I think he had 1 sister and 2 brothers, but it doesn't matter. But, so little Herb, is being raised with his siblings and his dad that's a doctor and his mom. And everybody says that his early childhood was perfectly normal. There was no reports of abuse. There was no reports of neglect. Certainly, he had all of his needs met. And I just think that's interesting because normally when you learn about these people that have gone on to commit what I'm going to tell you Herb did, there's something in that background that's off.
They've been abused or they've suffered a serious trauma.
Ted Bundy found out that his mom was his grandma.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's usually something like that that's like, what the hell? I think I'll kill somebody. But,
it'd make this trauma be solved.
Murder. Murder. Okay, so everything's going great. And then little Herb starts school. One day on his way to elementary school, he finds a dead bird on the side of the road.
Okay.
So he's like, I'm going to take that to school and put it on my teacher's desk.
So she can bury it.
He said he wanted to see her reaction.
Oh
my God. Remember when I thought I saw a dead bird? I screamed and jumped up and down.
Flashback.
Yes. Too bad we didn't have that on camera.
Oh.
Katie has a pet bird. Check out our Instagram to see a picture of Henry.
Yes. Henry the green cheek.
And she also has this little toy fish that's green that her cats play with, and I stepped on it like 2 times ago when I was here. I just thought for sure I crushed it. And this bird is like their child. I'm like, I just got to crawl out the window and get the hell out of here.
He's like, she just murdered the child.
Man, yeah, it's like killing somebody's kid and then being like, well, I got to go. I'll see you tomorrow at work. Okay, so anyway, this is when things are starting to just be like, what's going on? Why would
red
you?
flag.
Yeah, exactly. So then he would ask his classmates, what do you think it tastes like to drink your pee? What do you think it tastes like?
I don't know, and nor do I want to.
I would have never thought of that. I would have been like, hot? Ew, no.
Oh, God. I was trying not to think of it.
I'd be like, the goal is for it to taste like water. Okay, but
right.
I don't know. I think it's going to have a little zazz.
Who says that?
This Herb.
What do you think it tastes like to drink your pee?
Yeah. Oh, but here's something else.
They said, I don't know, why don't you do it and let me know?
Yeah. They just started avoiding him. So it was also, and this is my favorite, and I want to ask you what you think this means. And then I have the answer.
Okay.
This is a quote. It was also in elementary school that he started doing private things in public.
That could mean several things.
It could indeed.
Private things could be doing things like tasting his own pee.
That's not a private thing. That is a no-no. That is a no-no, Katie. Don't do that in private.
I won't do that. You couldn't pay me to do that.
No, it's disgusting. Well, so what they meant by doing private things in public, he started pissing.
That word. I'm sorry.
Pissing. No, he started peeing on his teacher's desk.
What?
He was down with
That's
OPP.
something that he should always be down with OPP. Yeah, you know me.
I was hoping you'd hear that. He was like, yeah, you know me.
Oh my gosh, am I going to be able to get through this?
We're still in elementary school.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't get better either.
So hang on though, because you said he was doing private things in public. So he should be privately peeing on his teacher's
Yes, that
desk.
is I mean, he should be peeing in the bathroom alone, not on his teacher's desk.
Oh.
And this is like a thing. This isn't a one-off. This is a thing he does.
Oh, so the teacher's frequently walking in on. Okay, move on.
Yeah. All right, let's get him on up to the teenage years.
Okay.
Teenage Herb. I have a picture. Do you want to see?
I would love to see a picture of
Let
her.
me show you Teenage Herb, and then if you guys want to see, just go to our Instagram. I'm not gonna stop saying it until you go to our Instagram.
Don't just go to our Instagram though. Like our Instagram,
Thank you.
Follow, share our Instagram, please.
So this is Herb.
Oh, not at all what I was expecting. Oh,
He looks normal-ish. Okay. So Teenage Herb was super annoying. That was his official diagnosis. No, he would like often correct even the teachers. Right. Just the smallest little thing. Just
I know it all.
A know-it-all. And don't look at me like that. It was one thing that I had to prove today. And he would often so at some point, just because the teachers and the students are just reporting constantly back to Herb's parents, bro, he's golden showering anything he can. And if we accidentally say ain't, he's up our ass.
Ain't.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something he could correct.
Okay.
Ain't you over there pissing on the teacher's desk? And then he's like, ain't a word.
It was the motion for me.
I wanted to really hose it down. So they did take him to the doctor and some specialists, and he was diagnosed with schizophrenia in high school.
Okay.
But I challenge that, and I want to ask your opinion kind of at the end, but let me give you the definition of schizophrenia.
Okay.
Although I heard some people pronouncing it schizo. How do you say this word?
Schizophrenia?
They were saying schizophrenia, and that was
Phrenia?
Schizophrenia. I guess maybe they were schizophrenic and they were just saying it two different ways. Okay, not funny. Here's the definition. Schizophrenia is a serious mental disorder. Why am I smiling through it? Sorry. Schizophrenia
Why is she laughing?
is a serious mental disorder in which people interpret reality abnormally. Schizophrenia may result in some combination of hallucinations, delusions, and extremely disordered thinking and behavior that impairs daily functioning and can be disabling. People with schizophrenia require lifelong treatment. Now, people that are diagnosed with schizophrenia are not necessarily ever going to hurt you. They're not necessarily ever going to be a danger, but they might hear voices. They might, struggle to hold down a job or even work, but are overall usually safe. After little Herb got diagnosed with schizophrenia, there's not a single shred of evidence or report that he ever received treatment.
Really?
Yeah. So you got to remember, little Herb was born in 1947.
Yes.
So now we're maybe late 50s, early 60s, and there's all these just weird behavior things. And then he gets diagnosed with schizophrenia, and his dad is a well-known anesthesiologist in Indianapolis.
Okay.
So there are some theories on why they just were like, oh, really? Okay, let's go home, Herb. The treatments at the time, the main one was EST, or electroshock therapy. They could also give him a lobotomy.
How is that helping anybody?
It's just helping the people getting pissed on. It's not helping Herb at all.
It's really not.
No. Institutions, which you remember when I told you about Cropsey, right?
I do.
I just said it was scary. I don't know what else going on there. So it could have been that his dad was afraid of these treatments or concerned about these treatments, or he just didn't want to be embarrassed
Right.
to have
That was the way I was leaning.
like a problem child.
I don't see why when you're an anesthesiologist that makes bank, you
Right.
could afford to take care of
Could have
your
had him
child. However,
medicated, could have gotten private treatment.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. But that wasn't the route we chose. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about Herb today, probably.
That's fair.
So, Herbie, as I'm now going to call him as he enters his university years, his
Is that
college
when
years.
he went by?
No.
Oh, you're just giving him different nicknames?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I feel like he was trying to be cool and different.
college.
Yeah.
He went by
So,
Herbie.
not really. He went to the Indiana University for one semester and then he dropped out.
Okay.
But, it happens.
Yeah.
And then he did go back 2 years later, though. And while he was at college the second time, he met Julie Sater.
Julie Sater.
And so this is, probably 21. I don't know. I could have Googled it.
You should have Googled it.
But he's a young adult. And Julie Sater is said to be like his first ever girlfriend.
Can I just say, I really appreciate you including that first and last name because you already know where I'm headed after this.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll turn you on to some stuff too.
Okay.
So Julie, like Herb, was a conservative.
Okay.
Which, I'll tell you some stuff later, see how conservative he was.
Okay.
And they both had entrepreneurial goals.
Oh, they are setting themselves for a world with big words. Schizophrenia,
conservative,
entrepreneurial.
Yeah, entrepreneurial. Hope they can spell all those. So, when Julie and Herb start dating, Herbie and Julie, the Herb Senior, Dr. Herb, he was just sick of Herb, like just being aimless, in and out of college.
Okay.
He's never held a job. I don't even know if he's ever had a job. And he's just out there peeing on stuff.
Still? He's a grown man.
Yeah.
You should know better at this point.
Yeah, this kept on coming.
Oh, poor Julie.
So, Dr. Herb, like I said, everybody in the community loves him. He gets Herb little Herb, a job at the Indianapolis Star, the newspaper.
Okay.
And he's like there to make copies or like assist someone else in sharpening their pencils. He doesn't have like a highfalutin job or anything.
He's not writing the articles or editing or.
But that doesn't stop Herb Jr. from coming in like expensive, fancy suits.
Hey, you know what they say? Dress for the job you want.
He was dressing for the job he wants. So, but he's just weird. And he's correcting people. And he's just annoying them, interjecting into their conversations. So, once again, like high school, college, elementary school, his coworkers are just like, bye. Just trying to stay away from him. So, Herb finds out that they're all going to go to this IU football game. And he tells them, hey, I can drive you guys. I have a car big enough. I can drive you guys.
Okay.
Is that okay? And so they're like, yeah, okay, sure.
They're like, no, we don't want to go with you.
They agree to go with him. And Katie, Herb picks them up in a hearse. Do you know what a hearse is?
Yes, I know what a hearse is.
Yeah. Picks them up in a hearse. And so.
And they got in the car?
They did. They had regret though. So they were like, and they all like got in the car and he's up there driving. They look up. He's wearing a chauffeur's hat and has like the lights on. Like he's got a dead body in the car and people are pulling over and he just drives on up to the football game.
They're like, where's that man going with that dead body? To the football field?
Yes.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to get out of the car.
No.
I'd be like, you drive me to the funeral home and I will walk home.
So it wasn't long after that the Indianapolis Star said, "Thank you for your service. We're good here."
Ooh.
Yeah. So then he gets his next job at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
Oh, yes, I love the B&B.
Well, I feel like this was the perfect job for her because the next description says he behaved oddly and rude.
That sounds like most B&B employees.
Yes! Sorry.
If you work at the B&B, please take no offense.
So once again, he acts like he's like trying to make friends, but you know, we all have that one coworker that's like, we were told to staple it perpendicular to the paperclip, and that's how it must be done. There's like no give.
Like they take everything so literally.
Yes, that was Herb. And so he's walking around correcting people, and his manager starts to love him because he's like a little weasel, like a little rat on everybody else, and correcting everybody. And so, and then he's acting like he's trying to like make friends with them. So he sends everybody a Christmas card at work.
Okay.
He's dating Julie, right? Emails them a Christmas card that's a picture of him and a random drag queen. Which I think I would love to send that as my Christmas card. But this was the 70s and very weird.
The 70s, and if people knew you and you did that, people would be like, "That's Amy." Like,
I wonder where she went to a show, or like, why did she do this?
Like, oh, it's Herb again.
And who the hell's this person?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So even though that's still going on, like I said, the managers at the B&B love him, and they actually promoted him, at least in title, and they started calling him program director.
Okay.
But he got aggravated with them one day and decided to piss on their desk.
Stop, Amy! No, he was. You are making this up.
No.
Just like you made up the story of the woman.
You're going to Google this after I leave. I already know. And you're going to find Herb and his wild pisser.
His chronic peeing.
Yeah, he did. But he wasn't fired the first time. Yeah.
I'm sorry, if somebody at work.
I mean, how do you even approach that? There's something on my desk.
Did you spill your...
Yeah. So eventually, the second or third time that he did it, they finally were like, "You got to go.
We can't be peeing on people or their desks."
No. So right before though he got fired, he and Julie got married.
Oh wow!
Yep.
Julie must have really saw something in this man.
Something.
I don't know what it was.
We'll talk more about Julie later.
Okay.
And kind of like, what the hell, Julie? But less than 6 months after Herb and Julie got married, their car broke down.
Okay.
He lost his shit.
Why?
Because his car broke down. He had a complete mental breakdown, and his father had to have him institutionalized.
Really?
Because his car broke down. And we're still not thinking,
maybe he should get some help.
Well, you know what? You have pissed on 17 desks. All you did was your car broke down. Like,
your hearse? Was it his hearse?
Yes, I think he did have a hearse sign. Or no, I want to say he was able to borrow it from one of his father's connections at the hospital.
I can't.
I know. And I guess they took the dead guy into the game.
No.
No, I made that part up.
Are you sure?
I did. So, let me make a correction.
Okay.
Herb wasn't fired yet.
Oh.
He and Julie got married first. He had the mental breakdown about the
car.
The brakes pad needing replaced. I don't know. It wasn't even anything major. It was like a minor car repair that was needed. So they got married in 74, and he didn't get fired from the B&B until 1985. So they did keep him for a while.
Yeah.
That's the fucking B&B for you.
I mean, yeah. That the math is mathing.
So now I'm wondering, do we really need 17 pieces of mail, our birth certificate? Or was that just Herb? Like, it said 17 pieces. Yeah, I blame him for all my troubles. So In 1985, they did fire him, though. They got tired of his shenanigans, and he became a stay-at-home dad, because I didn't tell you. He had some kids.
Okay.
They had 3 kids. I'm going to leave their names out, and you'll know why.
Okay.
But they had 3 kids. First, they had a daughter in 1979. They had a son in 1981, and then they had another daughter in 1984.
Wow, okay.
So, like right around my age range. So, and like I said, this was all in Indianapolis. So, and they have gone to some effort to stay anonymous.
Okay.
So, when Herb was the stay-at-home dad, he was actually really good with the kids, they said. He said, the kids said, Julie said.
Really?
And Julie, because she had that journalism, I think, degree, maybe, or writing degree. It might be the same thing. I don't know. But so she was teaching, and she was doing some part-time work. So then, while Julie was at work, Herb liked to do a little something, something.
If it has to do with peeing, just... Why are you shaking your head? Yes.
No, it's not. He'd like to day drink and go to the gay bars.
Okay. To each their own.
He's married, and they're conservatives.
Are they?
Someone's not. So, in Indianapolis, and this is like the early 80s, the gay bar scene wasn't huge. You know, it's not like it is today where there are more visibility and more respect and more. The 80s were still kind of rough.
Right.
But like with any bar, I don't go to bars anymore, but with any bar, eventually if somebody comes in enough at the same time, you're going to start to like recognize their face.
You know who they start to learn who they
Oh,
are.
that's so-and-so. He'll sit over there by the piss on the pool table all night. Or all day. So this is when a little bit of the trouble started for her. Sometime around this time, he was arrested for a DUI. He was arrested for being a party to an insurance fraud. I don't know what that means, but he was acquitted of that crime.
Okay.
So then Big Herb dies. And so at this time, Little Herb gets the courage to ask his mom if he can borrow $4,000. And this is part of the story that I really liked. Julie and Herb decided to start a thrift store.
Okay.
I know, I'm into it.
I figured, yeah.
And so they took that $4,000 and they partnered with a charity in Indianapolis. So like Goodwill, you know how some of the profits goes to pay the employees, some of the profits might go to the owner.
Right.
And then some of it goes back to the charity, of course. And it was called Save a Lot.
Save a Lot?
Save a Lot.
Save a Lot, like the grocery store?
Yeah, but it was a thrift store. It was a thrift store. And when him and Julie first got the store, they kept it pristine. Okay. And it was super clean, and like they would filter through the donations, and it was like the best of the best was out. Like it was a win for them.
Yeah.
And it was a win for the community, a win for the charity. It was so successful that their profit was $50,000 the first year, which this was 1984 or whatever.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. And they opened a second store.
Wow, okay.
Yep. So that store's successful too. And Herb would go to like auctions, or I want to say like storage wars type situations. I don't know what all it would be, but different places where he would get these donations.
Yeah.
And he would handpick them and like try to get the cream of the crop and stuff.
Okay.
And then he would bring it back to the stores. When the stores got full, well, let me tell you about that. Because in 1991, and let me show you a picture of this, Herb and Julie bought their home. And this home is so fancy, Katie, that it has a name.
Oh, okay.
It's called Fox Hollow Farm. And I mean, that's a beautiful home today.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, even probably nicer and more elaborate for its time. It had an indoor swimming pool.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a really nice house. Let me show you a
They were
picture.
doing well for themselves.
Yeah, they were. This is a picture of the indoor swimming pool.
Wow.
I know.
They're not messing around.
No.
That is a nice house.
Very nice. And so Julie was like moved into her dream house.
Yeah.
Herb's finally like killing it. And the
Entrepreneurial.
on the entrepreneurial world. He's not pissing on anything at the store. Life is good. So I was telling you earlier about how he would go to the estate sales and bring stuff back to the stores.
Yeah.
When that ran out of room, he just started taking it to Fox Hollow Farm, his new house.
His mansion.
Yeah, his mansion. So in the beginning, when they had these stores, everything was pristine and nice and now it's just filthy, the stores and his house. On the inside, clutter everywhere.
Filled to the brim.
Filled to the brim. They said the inside of the house was just like boxes and knickknacks everywhere. And it was causing some tension and anxiety.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. It'd be like me living with anybody else because that's very messy.
like when I come into the office after you.
Yes, thank God. Like, when's Katie gonna get here? It's a wreck. So like I said, both places are a total disaster. Just knickknacks, debris everywhere.
Sounds like a hoarder situation.
It was getting there, but it was really weird how it was such a 180 from where he started, and then to have this house and just be letting it go down.
Yeah.
And all the while, his drinking problem is starting to get worse.
Okay.
So I didn't really say this, but also what was like night and day is when the two stores first opened up, the employees were very complimentary. They liked working for him. They had clear expectations of what they were supposed to do. Now we're hitting this hoarding, dirty phase.
Right.
And he's drunk. He's rude.
Yeah.
He's insulting them. And all the while, he's still sneaking off to the gay bars.
Wild. That's wild.
Herb, you're a naughty boy. But really, you have no idea just how naughty, because while all of that's the setting for Herb and Julie and the Baumeister family. Meanwhile, while they're doing all that, young gay men in the Indianapolis area are either being found dead right along the roads, or they're just missing. In 1985, 17-year-old Eric Rocker was found on the road. In 1989, 26-year-old Stephen Elliott. In 1991, 32-year-old Clay Boatman. And I'll give you a whole list of all of the confirmed, confirmed and suspected victims. But in 1991, when Fox Hollow Farm was purchased, they stopped showing up on the side of the road. They were just missing. So in 1994, Julie and Herb's 13-year-old son finds a skeleton in the backyard.
What?
Half emerged, like half buried, half out of the ground.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Red flag.
Red flag.
I mean, that's not even a red flag. That's a whole damn circus tent.
Right. Like, look at me.
Yeah. So the son goes and tells his mom. And there's a couple different versions of this, but they both end the same. My favorite one that I read said that Julie went out and got the skeleton and put it together on the table. But another report just said when Herb got home, she took him out back and was like, "What's this?" Either version
is wrong.
Is insane.
Why would you not just call the police?
Immediately.
Okay.
No problem. No worries, though. Little Herb has an explanation.
Oh, yeah.
So he says, "Julie, calm down, you drama queen. Clearly, this is just one of my dad's autopsy mannequins or dummies or case studies. And he had it in my garage. And when I cleaned out the garage, I just half-ass buried it in the backyard.
His father was an anesthesiologist, not an
He
autopsy.
That's too asleep. I'm too sedated. Beat that out too. Yeah. So, yeah.
What? And he's just like, yeah, this thing, it's not even a real skeleton. It's just like just something my dad had for medical school. I just decided the best place for it would probably be halfway in the backyard.
Yes. That and she said okay.
She said, makes sense. Light bulb.
She said, of course.
Why didn't I think of that?
But let's talk a bit about Julie for a minute. This seems like a good time.
Okay.
Because what the hell, lady? How are you not freaking out that there is a full skeleton poking out of your yard? Your husband's missing, drunk all the time.
Right.
Where are you when he's at the gay bars? Because I don't know about you and your relationships, but I am nosy. Okay.
Same. I'm pretty sure we've established that with Katie's creepy.
Oh, you were at work? That's funny. I drove by there. No, I mean,
okay.
not that bad, but I'm not above picking up a cell phone and looking through it once in a while.
Well, not only that, but questioning, like, I've been at work all day. You've been drinking all day and doing
Right.
what? Why is our store a mess? Why is our house a mess? Why is a skeleton popping out of the backyard?
There's a real skeleton in the closet there. I don't.
Literally.
Yeah. So here's another thing I haven't told you about Julie that makes me think you could have asked a couple more questions. I told you that they have 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
In interviews later, which Julie has done, I think an investigation discovery or discovery ID.
Oh.
So you should be able to find some clips of her. But she has stated on the record in her 25-year marriage to her husband, they had sex 6 times total.
What?
Like a couple of
And
rats.
they have 3 kids?
Yeah, so 3 times for business, 3 times for pleasure.
What?
So I'm going to be like, okay, you have a girlfriend. You aren't attracted to me. You maybe are closeted gay. Let's talk about some stuff.
Yeah. To me, it sounds like it maybe there's more about Julie or Julia that I don't know.
I don't know. I call her something different every time.
I've noticed that. It's okay. I love it. Gives it zazz.
It gives it a little zazz. We can put her real name right here.
Anyways, about Julie, it seems to me as an assumption that she's got a very nice, very big house. She's got 2 businesses that she can put her name on, and her husband's doing just enough to keep them afloat so she can enjoy this luxury without asking too many questions.
Yeah, that's not a bad theory. But also, why not just divorce him? Like, you're going to get half.
Right.
You could probably get the house because you've got those kids.
Especially if he's crazy. Sorry.
He's abusive, rude, pisses on your leg when you're not looking. Why are you there, lady? Not asking a single question.
Maybe she's into it. I don't know.
Well, speaking of things that you can get into, let me tell you what happens next.
Okay.
So, one weekend, because this used to happen a lot. Julie would take their kids and go to Lake Wawasee. I don't know if that's really, it's like Wawasee, Lake Wawasee.
Lake Warnos.
Lake Eileen Warnos. And that's where Herb's mom lived.
Okay.
On this lake. So oftentimes she would take those 3 kids and go visit her mother-in-law on the lake, and Herb would just have the mansion to himself.
What?
So on one of those trips, Herb is hitting the gay bars.
Sure.
And as one does, sure.
Typical.
Cat's out of town, heading to the I got nothing. Into the gay bar. So anyway, one of those men that I have mentioned in the past that are missing, and maybe it wasn't even one of those because it just said one of the missing men's family members had hired a private investigator.
Okay.
And so the private investigator, while he's hitting these hot spots, the gay bars and wherever, maybe the last known places of these men that went missing, he's meeting people. And he meets this guy, and this isn't his real name, and I'll tell you why, because he's what they call a informant, like a confidential informant. Okay. I lost my spot.
CI?
Yeah, he's a CI.
Oh.
And his name is, air quotes, Tony. Okay. So the private investigator meets Tony.
Right.
And Tony is telling him, look, I went to the police too. But I feel like I know who's killing these young gay men. And it's this guy that comes in here, and I don't really know his name, but I just kind of keep my eye on him. And I see him staring at the pictures of the missing posters. Ugh. So he just got like that intuition and that feeling. And so the private investigator is interested, but he's like, he doesn't come at certain times, or he's not like,
it's not consistent.
Yeah, it's not every Wednesday and every Saturday. It's whenever. So one day, the Tony, who's the confidential informant or the informant, is at the gay bar and walks Herb.
Okay.
And that's who he thinks is doing it.
Right.
And so he's kind of watching him. And again, he is like looking at the missing posters. He's probably looking to see if there's any description of a suspect or anything.
Yeah, like.
So Tony goes up and starts talking to him and flirting with him.
Oh, no.
And he pretends like he's really drunk, and he's not.
Okay.
Which was so smart, but so brave. Like,
oh my. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That would be so scary.
One of the missing men, though, was one of his dear, dear friends.
Really?
And so I think he was kind of fueled by that. So he asked this stranger, this mysterious stranger in the bar, what's your name? And he tells him that his name is Brian. It's really not.
Oh.
Brian would have been better, though. Better than Herb.
Depends on who you ask.
All right, I guess. So he tells him he's Brian, and he tells him, hey, I am a caretaker at this property outside of town, because this was in Carmel, or it's one of the suburbs outside, name here, the actual town here. But it's a suburb of Indy.
Okay.
And so Brian tells Tony, I'm a caretaker there. The new owners haven't moved in. I'm just there helping them remodel and clean up. Like, do you want to go back there with me, and we can kind of party and hang out? And so Tony says, yeah, I want to do that. So he's still pretending to be drunk, and this gets so icky. Are you ready for the icky?
If it's graphic and gory, no.
No.
Is it sexual?
Yes, but I'll try to leave out. I'll try to just hint around, and people can use their imagination.
Okay.
But here's my favorite part. So that was good.
Sure, where this is about to go.
So they drive outside of town, and Fox Hollow Farm has like this really long driveway, and all the lights are out. It's completely dark. And so already I would be so freaked out. And Tony's kind of getting freaked out.
I mean, yeah, if he is going along with a suspected
serial killer
to this mansion that's pitch black.
And it's in a very like secluded area. There's not a neighbor right next door that's going to hear you if you need help. So he doesn't even lead him in through the entire house. He just takes him right into the pool area that's only lit with like dim pool lights.
Okay.
Katie, Herb had mannequins in various poses all around the pool.
What?
And so could you imagine the creepy reflection and shadows? And it's like people are watching you, but they're just mannequins.
In these strange positions. I can't imagine if mannequins were just lined up against the wall or just one was in each corner. No.
All over. And Brian, who's actually Herb,
Right.
is like, oh, I don't know, the owner. Plus, they just keep me company.
They're
Like they're
wild. Like, what?
what the hell? So Tony's like, okay. And then Herb's like, here, have a drink. And he's like, no, I'm not thirsty, or just like not drinking what he's giving him. Then, this is where you have to use your imagination a little bit, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to skip some and just try to, you can picture it how you will. But Herb says to Tony, hey, I know about this new thing, and I'd like you to try it with me if you want. It's like, choke it.
These are really great descriptions.
And so Tony's like, okay, sure. And he's like, okay, well, you do it to me first, and then I'll do it to you. So he does it. Boom!
I would have been out so fast.
He does it. And when Herb, who's pretending to be, is calling himself Brian, is choking Tony, Tony's like, I just pretended to pass out before I really did.
Smart.
Yeah, whew, this man. So when he does that, then Herb lets go, and he's like, hey, man, you okay? You okay? You okay? And he knew he couldn't pretend to be dead because he had a heartbeat. He was breathing. So he was like, yeah. And then Herb said, hey, that's not funny, man. Accidents have happened. You can't just pretend like that. And so when he said that, Tony was like, oh, really? Is that what happened to Roger Goodlet?
Oh, no.
Right after that, Tony realized how high and drunk and under the influence Herb was.
Right.
And Herb like passed out like shortly after that, just fell asleep. So Tony uses this time to go upstairs and try to get this guy's real name. So this guy is so brave.
That guy is so brave because I don't know what I would be doing first. Part of me would be like, get out.
Yeah.
And don't just get out. Part of me would be like, call the police. Part of me is like, tie this man up so he can't get away.
Yes. No, he goes upstairs out of the pool area.
Just leave this man there?
Yeah. He was like, if you've been around somebody that's really messed up,
I mean,
you kind of know you have a few minutes, and he could tell he had a while anyway. So when he goes looking through the house, all he finds is more crap everywhere. Women's clothing, toys. So now he's like, oh my God, like, is there captives here? Like, he doesn't know what to think. So
he thought people were remodeling this house.
Right. So he's like, man, I'm not finding crap up here with his name on it. So he goes back downstairs and he's like, I'm going to get in his wallet and I'm just going to look at his driver's license. This is like a horror movie.
I mean, yeah.
So he goes back into the pool area, and as he's going through the wallet, I'll be damned if Herb doesn't wake up.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that is how life works.
This should be a movie. So when Herb wakes up, he's like, what are you doing? Are you robbing me? Are you robbing me? And Tony again just plays it off, and he's like, no, I was looking to see if you had a something. Like, plays it off somehow. I don't know what he has said. But he convinces Herb, like, hey, man, no, I'm not robbing you. Tonight was fun. Can you just give me a ride back into town? And so he's like, yeah, sure. So he takes him back into town. The whole time, Tony's heart is just like beating out of his chest. But he actually takes him back to the gay bar and drops him off. And Tony says, hey, let's meet again next week.
Okay.
And Herb's like,
man,
okay.
This man.
He's so brave. And we don't really know who he is because this is a fake name.
Yeah.
So they make plans to meet up like one day the following week. Well, meantime, of course, Tony is going to the police, the private investigator. He's
Telling
like,
him everything.
I have plans to meet him. I know this is it. He choked me out.
Right.
He made me choke him out. It's messy.
He said it's happened before.
Yeah, it is him. I know it's him. But he couldn't remember the name of the property because even when you drive up, it says Fox Hollow Farm, but he could only remember something farm, and so they just couldn't. They didn't have enough.
Oh no!
So then, when they're supposed to meet the next week, he doesn't show up.
Really?
No.
Well, he is very inconsistent like that.
Yes.
So.
Probably the wife and kids came home.
Yeah.
He just got drunk. I mean, who knows? 1 year later.
Oh no.
Tony is back at the gay bar, and in walks Brian. Herb. And this time Tony's like, I'm not taking any chances. He just stalked him, waited till he went out to his vehicle, and then wrote down his license plate number.
Smart. And probably safer than going back to his house again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he wouldn't have gotten out again. No way. So they go to the police. He goes to the police. They run the plate number. And of course, it comes back to Herbert Richard Baumeister Jr. So the police go to the Save-A-Lot. Can you imagine being at work and multiple police you're a serial killer.
Right.
And multiple police officers walk in.
Oh, he had to be freaking out on the inside.
He already is so weird. I'm surprised he didn't just be like, I'll just piss on you.
Oh, God. How can this man keep peeing?
He's very hydrated. So the police go to the Save-A-Lot and they're talking to Herb and they tell him, there's been a lot of missing young men. We have witnesses that have seen you at the gay bar. They probably said the name of it, but I don't know it. And we'd like to search your property. And they all just said he was weird. Just very, yeah, we know that already.
Right.
But he said, listen, my wife does not know that I hang out there, and I have had nothing to do with it, and no, you cannot search my property. Well, so they're like, they really, without enough probable cause, you can't just go search the property.
Right.
But there's a female police officer on the case, and she's like, listen, I bet he's a real asshole to live with. Let me go talk to the wife.
Right. Smart.
So I know. So she goes out there, and Julie's just shocked.
Especially with the past skeleton that she's found.
Interesting, right? So the female police officer says to her, can we search your property? We really think your husband's involved in this. And also BT Dubs.
He's been hanging at the gay bar.
He's gay or bi. He's something. How many times do you guys have the sexy time? Oh, 6?
The math is mathing.
The math is mathing. So Julie says no.
She says no?
She says no. So then when Herb comes home, she's freaking out. He's freaking out. He tells her, I'm being falsely accused of theft, and that's why they want to search the property. And she's like, excuse me? What about this gay bar stuff?
Right. She's like, nice try, but I already talked to the police.
Yeah. But she stands by her man.
That's her man?
She's going to stick beside But everything, stuff was already unraveling.
Right.
But now it's the business is trashed. His mental health, trashed. Their marriage, trashed. So Herb and Julie both secretly file for divorce.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I think she was just going to divorce him and be done and try to pretend like this whole thing never happened. Right. I don't know.
What?
So while they're feuding, this time Herb takes their oldest son and leaves for a trip to the lake to see the mom.
Oh, okay.
His mom. Just probably just get away from Julie and get away
Right.
from the fighting and everything. While he's gone, this time Julie's just like, no. And she calls the police. She calls that female detective that had originally gone to talk to her. There was some jurisdiction issues because, like, this police officer was in Indianapolis, and then there was another police department for
Carmel or she was at.
wherever they were at. So they did have to do a little quick coordinating, but they got it done. When they got there to search the property, Katie, it was literally, they could look out into the yard and see bones popping up. They said it was literally riddled with bones.
How did the woman, how did this Julie just...
It's like the expression that you can't see the forest through the trees. Like, I don't know. She just got used to seeing toes, little piggies poking out of the dirt. It's not funny.
She was like, everybody has this.
We paid extra. It's cobblestone. Sorry. So they believe there were as many as 11 people.
Wow.
11 different sets of bones, but they did end up identifying 4 of them. So anyway, but before they got to that, Julie's like, holy shit. These are all bodies because Herb's got my boy and they're up at Lake Wawasee. So they do get a judge to sign an emergency custody paper to obtain their son.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they just go up there and get the son. They don't take Herb in for questioning. If you can find out, please let me know. They don't. They said that they were still gathering information. You can't detain him while you're digging up bones? Yeah. And Julie says there was a skeleton before and...
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
How are you just going to let the man go? That's basically what they did.
They did. So he initially is just like, yeah, okay, it's kind of dramatic that my wife wants our son back this bad, but okay.
Right.
So they return him. Then it starts like hitting the news. Indianapolis serial killer, possibly the I-70 strangler, which I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but remember those bodies that I were telling you were finding on the side of the road? Likely that is the same person because Herb used to travel between Indianapolis and Ohio for business when he was starting up the store. That's right along that path is where they were finding all these bodies. They stopped showing up when he had a home, a private home where he could just... Katie, he was barely dragging them 50 feet from the house.
Right. And I mean, it doesn't even just sound to me like he was burying these men. Or if he was doing a very poor job. So how this woman is just as sick as he is.
Yeah. I mean, she... And all of the like supporting interviews that I saw, the police detectives, even the people that were like, you know, with Discovery ID, nobody was really pointing the finger at Julie or nobody was really, but I'm like, side eye.
Exactly.
Something.
You're just unknowingly, but knowingly letting this happen. Like, you may not know the details, but you know something's going on.
You had to know something. And this could have been stopped years ago. How many lives would she have saved had she called the police when she found that first skeleton?
Right.
I'm not shaming anybody. I have not been in that position. But I will say, I would have called 911 when I found the first skeleton.
Right. You wouldn't have waited for your husband to get home. You likely wouldn't have assumed he had anything to do with it. So
I would have been like,
to panic.
Imaginary husband, you need to get home. There's a body in our backyard and the police are on their way.
Right.
That's the second phone call.
Yeah.
So anyway, when the news starts hitting that Fox Hollow Farms is literally got caution tape all around it and they're digging up all these bodies, Herb takes off.
Because he's just out in the wind.
Yeah. So on July 3rd, 1996, they found his car in a park in Ontario, Canada. He had committed suicide, shot himself. And with his body, he left a 3-page suicide note,
Wow.
Katie, that talked about his depression, his failing business, and his marriage problems. Not a drop
Of
about the bodies
remorse
poking out of
or-
his garden.
Right.
It wasn't even a garden, it was just a backyard, but I want to be dramatic.
I mean, a field.
Yeah.
The house is big enough.
Part of the note said, I killed myself, but I only had 1 bullet in the gun so that if a child found my body, they couldn't hurt themselves.
But
Oh,
now the math ain't mathin'.
You're so sweet.
Right.
Thank you for protecting that imaginary child. Meanwhile, you're strangling men, likely in a pool surrounded by creepy mannequins.
Seriously.
So
Oh.
that is it. I do want to tell you the names of the 8 identified victims.
Okay.
So their names were John Lee Bear, Richard Douglas Hamilton, Stephen Hale, Alan Broussard, Jeffrey Jones, Manuel Resendez, Roger Goodlett, who was the man that Tony was on a mission to,
Okay.
find out what happened to, and Michael Frederick Kieran.
That's
And
so sad.
that is the story of Herbert Baumeister, the Indianapolis, Indiana serial killer.
Oh my gosh. So when they found his body, in the 96, you said?
July 3rd, 1996.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
wild.
That's wild.
The man who wouldn't stop peeing was secretly
Yeah, that's
gay.
what I was gonna. One time you asked, like, what are some traits that you think of when you think of a serial killer? What do you look for in a man? What traits? What are unusual traits of a serial killer?
Yes.
That's got to be one, right?
I mean, I've not heard that about Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy or anybody.
A pissing clown's just not funny.
No, it's not.
You want me to make balloon art, or you want me to pee on this tree? Pee on your mom's desk. But isn't that such a weird quirk?
I don't know who would. Yeah, that is weird. Is one word to use to describe it.
Yeah, it's unusual for sure.
Oh, wow. Well, Katie's Creeping is going to be all over the latest.
All right. Yeah, I'll tell you some stuff off camera that I do now.
Yeah, I am interested. I'll probably want to go back and watch the ID episode if I can find it, which Jake will be all over that because he
likes that too.
He loves that.
Good.
But
Yeah.
that's sad, honestly.
It's so sad.
10 or 11?
They think there were probably a lot more because some
Really?
people they never found, or they were unable to identify. It was like just piles of bones, and they were trying to sort out how many digits do we have here? How many patellas do we have? How many femurs? And that concludes this episode. I am so excited to back in on Wednesday when Katie's episode drops.
Yes. I will have a really good one lined up. Before we go, though, for Monday, I do want to give a really big shout out. Thank you. Congratulations to our giveaway winner, Emily.
Congrats, Emily. You can count on this keychain to be in your goodie basket. Speaking of that, go to our Instagram to see what Emily has won.
Yes. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting and tuning in every week, telling us what's been your favorite, telling us when you've been excited.
Emily's a girl's girl.
She really is.
There's no Hailey Bieber, Selena Gomez BS with her.
There's not.
She's amazing.
Yes. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We can't wait to do another giveaway in the future. So stay tuned. And I think this has been another episode. Half an episode of
These Nutz Podcast.